It comes as no surprise to anyone in Red Sox Nation that the Big Three, now recently renamed the Big Four, is rapidly approaching the major league organization. With all of the minor league talent that is on its way up within the next year or so, it is time to start asking the question that a lot of Red Sox fans started asking a year ago when Verdugo, Duvall, and Duran lined the outfield. Who is the odd man out? As Roman Anthony, the Sox #2 overall prospect, is banging on the door of the 40-man roster, the outfielders who are currently occupying the everyday roles are probably starting to wonder, and rightfully so, how will next year's picture pan out? With Ceddanne Rafaela's versatility in both the outfield and infield, there is definitely some leeway with how this could happen. The aforementioned Anthony is the number 14 overall prospect in baseball and was just recently called up to AAA, and while it is completely possible that he could start the year with next year's big league club, it is also possible that he could start in AAA to give himself some more seasoning depending on what happens in spring training. This could also leave the front office with some extra time to figure out how they want to do things. As it stands right now, the Red Sox outfield is already crowded with All-Star MVP Jarren Duran and AL Rookie of the Year candidates Wilyer Abreu and Ceddanne Rafaela. You also have lefty killer Rob Refsnyder, who does have a club option after this year. However, the rumor mill is currently swirling with the idea that he may be hanging it up after this season. And then of course you have Tyler O'Neill, who is having a fantastic bounce back here in a Boston uniform, but he may very well end up as this year's Justin Turner, only being here for one season and then disappearing to the mist of free agency. Under the assumption that Roman Anthony starts 2025 in AAA, we would have Jarren Duran, Ceddanne Rafaela, and Wilyer Abreu as our starting outfielders. This, of course, depending on what happens with Rob Refsnyder and Tyler O'Neill in the offseason. Just based on numbers alone, you can clearly see that Anthony is almost big league ready, and once he is called up, deciding who will be the odd man out in the outfield is a little more difficult than one thinks. First up, you have Jarren Duran, who is posting similar, if not better numbers than he was slashing at this time last year before his season-ending injury in New York. But he has been doing so with even more flair. It is very easy to see why the Red Sox are hesitant to get rid of him, just like they were this past offseason when rumors were flying that he could be headed out to San Diego. Batting-wise, he currently has a .290 average in 561 plate appearances. His speed is also a factor with 30 stolen bases. He has excelled defensively in both left and center field, saving 8 runs, more than Ceddanne Rafaela and Wilyer Abreu combined. He has blossomed from a meek rookie who was unsure of what he was doing on the diamond to an experienced clubhouse presence that has at times put this team on his back. Next up, you have Wilyer Abreu. While he does not have Rafaela's or Duran's speed, he has been known to swipe a bag or two. But it is his plus-time pop that leaves fans' jaws on the floor and is why it should come as no surprise that he is so high in the Rookie of the Year candidacy. He and Rafaela were both called up to play the Astros series in 2023 and both played 28 games, yet Abreu somehow still managed to post a .269 batting average, a .844 OPS, and rack up 24 hits in 85 plate appearances in such a short time. Watching him grow since the 2022 Astros trade, which brought him and Valdez in exchange for Christian Vasquez, has been nothing short of incredible. Staying in line with incredible rookie runs, next you have Ceddanne Rafaela. At the beginning of the 2024 season, Rafaela signed an 8-year contract extension with the Red Sox with a club option for the 9th. This easily puts him as the man whose job going into 2025 is the safest. After what we have seen from him this year, it is clear why the front office wanted to keep him in a Boston uniform for a long time. Rafaela's presence, however, adds another key component into this puzzle as he could seamlessly fit into the middle infield as well with Trevor Story or Marcelo Meyer. After Story's injury at the beginning of the season and Meyer still in AAA, it was unclear what the Red Sox shortstop position would look like for the rest of the year. It was then that a confident Ceddanne Rafaela literally said, "Put me in, coach." After some reluctance from Alex Burr at first, it was clear that Rafaela in the middle infield needed to be part of our defensive lineup, as even if Trevor Story is healthy, he could get ready to shift into a semi-shortstop, semi-DH position, where he could split time with Yoshida at DH with lefties on the mound. If the Red Sox opt to keep Trevor Story at shortstop, Rafaela could also easily become the everyday second baseman. This, of course, if the Red Sox are unsure about Vaughn Grissom's future. Current second baseman and fellow rookie David Hamilton could also become a very reliable bench bat. Next up, there is Tyler O'Neill. Going into 2024, many people believe that Tyler O'Neill is just a rental that will probably be gone next year. However, his season in Boston has been the definition of bounce back, and he has returned to the form of the it player he once was in 2021. His injury-riddled 2022 and 2023 season, which made the Cardinals want to ship him out, seemed to be a distant memory. Once he put on a Red Sox uniform, his power and speed seemingly came back despite being only 1 year away from his age 30 season. He has been a saving grace for the Red Sox this season, and while he is a very streaky player, Red Sox Nation has only seen him on, so to speak, as he has a .272 batting average, a .901 OPS, 22 homers, and 46 RBIs, which is better than his last 2 seasons combined. In 81 games this season, he has gotten very comfortable in Boston and started to make the city his home. Tristan Casas recently mentioned that Tyler O'Neill gives everyone else confidence. He is a reassuring veteran presence who has not only found his footing again, but helps the younger players get more confident at the plate as well. Much like Justin Turner last year, Tyler O'Neill has put himself in a position that if given the opportunity, he could become a staple in Boston's lineup till the end of his career. He is a clubhouse leader that could very easily become the platoon-ready bat that Boston desperately needs. With Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, and Roman Anthony all lefties, Tyler O'Neill's right-handed bat could still see plenty of playing time if he does stay in Boston after this season. Lastly, we have Rob Refsnyder, who spent time with 5 different teams before finding his home in Boston. He has emerged as another desperately needed veteran presence in the clubhouse, and is by no means an everyday player, but when he does play, he makes himself known. Just recently, he announced the idea of retiring after the 2024 season, which to this conundrum would be very beneficial. However, it would mean that Boston would lose one of its right-handed bats and lefty killers in a lineup that is very overly left-handed. With all of this being said, we now get back to the question posed at the beginning of the video: who is the odd man out when Roman Anthony comes up for the Boston Red Sox? As mentioned before, Ceddanne Rafaela is already locked into a major extension and is safe whether he plays the outfield or infield. Jarren Duran is under team control until 2029, and Wilyer Abreu is under team control until 2030. There is no question that Anthony's big league debut is just around the corner and could easily seal the fate of either Jarren Duran or Wilyer Abreu. Abreu has had an incredible first full season in the majors, and Duran has solidified himself as one of the best Red Sox outfielders in recent memory. And while it would suck to see either of these young men go, it is very likely that one of them ends up on the chopping block this offseason. Of course, there is always the possibility of the Red Sox flipping Roman Anthony for high-end starting pitching. However, Jarren Duran or Wilyer Abreu could easily fetch us some good, controllable starting pitching as well. With Giolito and Whitlock coming back, the emergence of guys like Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford, and Bayo being signed long-term, one could argue that there's only the need for one starting pitcher this offseason. Wilyer is an attractive, young, controllable trade candidate who is still very moldable to whatever outfield he is placed in. And while Duran is a little more set in his ways, he could be very valuable trade-wise on sheer talent alone. I know Red Sox fans might not want to hear it, but with the big 3 knocking on the door of the majors, we also need to start replenishing our farm system, and trading either Duran or Abreu could easily do the trick.